exclusive coverage of Tyson Fury's comeback on June the 9th in Manchester at the MEN. And that's part of a great summer lineup of boxing on BT Sport. In brief, 19th of May, headlining at Elland Road, Josh Warrington against Lee Selby, world title matchup. Fury and Flanagan together, Terry Flanagan alongside Tyson Fury in Manchester on June the 9th. Billy Joe Saunders' rescheduled fight against Martin Murray, the 23rd of June in London, and on the 30th of June, announced only last week, back in Belfast for the return of yet another exciting rising star, Michael Conlan, who, as I'm sure the people in the trade will understand, has been creating shockwaves in the United States since he turned professional. But we consider him one of ours, and his potential is limitless at this moment. All that, of course, plus the continuing story now after Carl Frampton's brilliant performance last weekend in Belfast. Liam Smith, who unfortunately has had to put back his world title fight for a few weeks, but Liam is with us today, and we'll speak to him later as well. And what's, I think, very important to emphasise today is the long-term nature of this partnership and the ambition on both sides, from Frank's side and from BT Sport's side, to bring the next generation through. So we're going to talk later to Daniel Dubois, who has been sensational so far at heavyweight, and with perfect timing, at light heavyweight, Anthony Yarde is in the house. If we'd have rehearsed that 5 times, we couldn't have done it that well. Thank you very much, Anthony. So that's a full cast list, and we're going to get the chance to have a word with them on the stage in just a moment or two, and later for all the media, the chance upstairs on the 34th floor for you to have your one-to-ones roundtable fashion a bit later on. So my thanks to all the star names who've made the effort to be here today. We're going to speak to all of them in a moment or two, but first, very important for the corporate side and for the structure, the ambition behind it that I mentioned, I'd like to invite Andy Howarth, who is the Managing Director for BT for Strategy and Content, to join Frank on the stage, and we'll get the big picture from them first. Thank you very much, both of you. Thank you, Frank. Centre stage, Frank.
Where's that? Just here?
That one there. Yeah. Microphone's there, gentlemen. Thank you. So, Frank, if I could come to you first. Why this extension from your point of view?
Well, I think because we've been delivering the goods. There's no doubt about it. If you look at these guys here, I mean, this is the cream of British boxing. I think this is the side to be on. There are sides in boxing. If you take Anthony Joshua out of what's going on at Sky and Matchroom, we're far in front of them. And the big man's back over there. The big Mac, he's back. And I think it's only a matter of time before he gets his title back. It's a fact of life. We've got a great lineup of fights, great lineup of fighters, some really good youngsters coming through, and all that can do is get stronger and stronger. BT have launched or launching a pay-per-view platform which would give us more muscle in the market. We're sure that we can deliver even bigger fights for the fans. So it's onwards and upwards. We've done very well in the short space of time in a year, and that's obviously brought about this extension in the agreement. It's a long deal that we've got, and it's all for us to do. And for the guys, the fighters, well, they've got a great opportunity now to make some seriously good money. And for the fans, it doesn't get any better than that, because at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. It's about the viewers and the fans, and this is the place to be now to see the big fights.
Thank you very much, Frank. What's in it for BT, Andy?
Well, I mean, just to echo a lot of what Frank has said, I mean, it's been a short relationship, but I think it's already grown into a great partnership. We've already done 13 world-class events, which have put excitement onto a Saturday night on BT Sport. And most importantly, our customers are loving boxing live on BT Sport on a Saturday night. They're loving what we're doing, they're loving how we're doing it, and they're asking us to do more. And today is all about doing more.
Frank, as long as I've known you, and for all the successes that you've had, there has always been one little pebble in your shoe, hasn't it? In fact, it's a heavyweight-sized pebble, really. For all these decades you've worked at this, the heavyweight dream. Is that what's driving you on now?
Well, to be honest, I've promoted Frank Bruno won his world heavyweight title with me after three unsuccessful attempts. Herbie Hyde I've got Tyson into the position to challenge for the world title. And you know, I've been involved in quite a few heavyweights who even upset British heavyweights. Lennox Lewis was beaten by Hassim Ruckman, Oliver McCall. I had involvement in both of those fights. But you know, for me, boxing's also about fun. And he's a fun guy. You know, Tyson brings something to it, and you know, there's always something going on. There's always something exciting happening. But the most important thing about it, boxing is about whether you can fight or not. And he is a true exponent of the art of boxing, hitting and not being hit. You only got to look at him against Klitschko, look at Anthony Joshua against Klitschko. You know, two different fights altogether. And I think he'll come back to being a much better fighter than he was. But even if he's only 80%, I still think he's got the beating of everybody. He's in a good place, and for me, it will be great for him to do it, because obviously there's nothing better than competition for fighters and for promoters and TV companies. And the fact of life is, we've got some rivalry going here. And the Anthony Joshua situation, there is no bigger fight than Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua in my time in boxing. And I think it'd be one of the biggest ever sporting events. And what our job to do is to make that happen. And what we want to try and do is to get it on BT. So that's really where we're all at.
Does Tyson Fury give BT back page and front page?
I mean, we're really excited to have Tyson Fury fighting on his comeback fights exclusively live on BT Sport. I think his 9th of June is going to be a day in any boxing fan's diary in Manchester. It's going to be a scintillating night on BT Sport, and it's great news for our customers too, because they can enjoy it at absolutely no extra cost exclusively on BT Sport.
Why is boxing important? I know you tell us that you've liked what we've been doing, and thank you very much. But long term, why is boxing a good fit for BT, the brand and the ambition?
I think we're privileged to be part of what is, quite frankly, a golden era in boxing, and it's great to be part of that, and also to be growing it, to be helping sustain that. I think Frank has arguably put together the best stable of fighters. You can see all the names assembled in the room today, and it's great to have you. Thank you very much. But what's really exciting about the stable, which really gets us excited at BT Sport and BT, is that we've got some really established fighters, some of the most exciting fighters that people really want to tune in and watch, who are characters, as you say. But almost as importantly, we've got the up-and-coming stars, the stars that we really want to nurture, that we want to grow their platform and ultimately turn them into superstars of tomorrow. That's what BT Sport is all about, those journeys and those stories, and we're really excited to be part of it.
And lastly, Andy, if I may stick with you for just a moment, because another important part of today is BT Sport's announcement of a new pay-per-view outlet, BT Box Office. So what is the strategy here?
I mean, this has always been part of the strategy, and it goes back to my previous comment. We're all about growing boxers right from the start and the grassroots, and really investing there and giving them, a lot of boxers their first opportunity to get in front of a big crowd live on TV, but also about ultimately participating in those huge nights, those nights that people talk about for years and decades to come, and that is pay-per-view. So this is about us putting the last piece of jigsaw in place, building hopefully the biggest pay-per-view machine in the country. It's going to be available on BT TV, it's going to be available on Sky and Virgin, so that's huge reach. So it's really exciting for us, really exciting for our customers, and hopefully really exciting for our fighters in terms of what we can offer them. And of course, we'll release more details about pay-per-view in the coming months.
Terrific, Andy. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
You are a very busy man, but that does set it up fantastically well. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so let's get to the summer schedule, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned, it's one big fight after another on BT Sport over the next 6-8 weeks. So we'll start May the 19th. The show really sells itself, Frank. I think you would agree with that. But the headline act, I think, is going to be one, regardless of the outcome, that's going to be remembered for decades and for many, many reasons. Josh Warrington against Lee Selby. It's Selby's title defence at Elland Road. The tickets went in 20 minutes. And we all know why, because of the drawing power, particularly of Josh Warrington, who faces his biggest test as a fighter. Josh, would you care to join us on the stage? And also, featuring on that bill, delighted today that we have Jack Catterall, who has risen so very quickly. Jack, the now former British super lightweight champion, but he hasn't put a foot wrong in his career yet. Jack is with us today, so please join us as well, Jack. And also, Frank's signing from January, I think it was, when you completed the signing of O'Hara Davis. And O'Hara is here today, I believe, and is scheduled, please join us as well, O'Hara, to appear on this Elland Road show. So we'll have a chance to speak a little bit about that in a moment. Thank you very much indeed.
I might have to sit in the middle of these two.
They're sizing each other up.
Yeah.
The microphone's at your feet, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh, how are you?
Very well.
Are you containing your excitement about this job?
I was just going to say, Frank, thank you for inviting me down this morning. It's got me out of track work this morning, but I've got twice as much to do tonight. But yeah, listen, just under 3 weeks to go. Biggest fight of my life. I know I've got a challenge ahead, and a lot of people in this room will think that I'm a massive underdog, and I'm going to pray. But it's something that I've been aiming towards for a long time now, and I think that boxing is massively about timing. I'm feeling fantastic, and on May 19th, got to go out there and give my best, and I think that's what I bring to the table. I've got 20,000 Leeds notice behind me, cheering and chanting, and I'll feed off that energy, and Leeds will have its first world champion.
You're feeding off a different kind of energy as well since the family events of February, aren't you?
Yeah, February 14th, my missus give birth to still baby.
There's a romantic gesture, Josh. Well done.
No, just do things by half in our house. But yeah, listen, it's another motivation. It's another motivation, and it's a welcome distraction as well, because you can beat yourself up just constantly thinking about the fight 24/7, and you can become a bit too obsessed. But you know, when you go home from gym, switch off, you know, spend time with baby girls, and then when I go to gym, it's serious work, and I'm excited to be there.
You're a very level-headed guy, and very endearing, if you don't mind me saying, for all that. But this expectation level, it's through the roof in Leeds. And compared to the previous comment, I'm not sure about the timing of being nominated as president of the Leeds United Supporters Club Trust, which is what happened last week, I understand.
Yeah, listen, we've got a fantastic fan base up in Leeds, and like I said, there's massive pressures. But this time round, I feel like there isn't. It's not too bad. You know, I should be running away with myself. Like having so many people coming along to the night. You know, having 20,000 people there fighting Elland Road. I mean, so many times I've drove past the stadium and thought, wow, what if one day? And now it's happening. It's reality. And we've got the Kaiser Chiefs playing the ring walk and everything else. So the whole event itself is a massive occasion, and I should be like bouncing off the walls. But I'm nice and chilled, and for that very reason is. Normally when I fight arena, I'm a massive favourite to win. You know, it's like more or less, people think it's a given, but I've still got to go in there and do the business and win the fight. This time round, because I'm an underdog, it's just giving me that little bit more fighting training, a little bit more bit between my teeth to perfect everything and make sure that on May 19th that I bring the very best Josh Warrington can be.
We don't have the opponent here today, but he is the reigning champion and he's had a brilliant career. So maybe it's appropriate, Frank, that you say a few words about how it all looks from Selby's side at the moment.
Well, he's a good fighter, and Lee at the moment is training in the States, so obviously he couldn't be here today. But, you know, he's going into the other guy's backyard. He's going into Josh's territory, into the president of the supporters club. So you can imagine what the support's going to be there like for him. I'm obviously in the Josh Warrington camp. You know, he's my man. I want him to win the fight, but I know it's going to be tough. I know Lee Selby's a very competent, he's a good fighter. But I think this could be his moment in time. He's confident about it. You know, Lee's confident. Lee's used to fighting away from home. It's all the ingredients of a great fight night, and I think we're going to have such a great atmosphere, great fights, and got the other two guys on the end as well. Fine.
Stadium show-wise, I was with you, both for Calzaghe in Cardiff, which was simply unforgettable, as was the Wembley. Probably the two highlights, if I may say, in Britain, of your whole promotional career outdoors so far. So could this match it?
We've done, you know, this could match it. I think for passion, you know, it's going to be there. I mean, you know, the whole city is behind Josh, and you know, coming out to, you know, the Kaiser Chiefs, Leeds band. I mean, he's going to be jumping. I should think. If anything, you know, how much more do you need to be pumped up? And the fact is, I honestly do believe when you're a home fighter, when you're in there and you've got your fans behind you, it draws more. You get more out of it. And I'm quite sure if it's down to the fans, he's won the fight already.
But it's not.
Of course not. It's going to be a tough fight. He's not stupid. He knows that, and he's prepared well. He's a thorough professional. all the way through. Sean, his father's done a great job in training. But I think we're going to be in for a bit of a special night.
Agreed. And how wonderful that we get these two young men on the card as well. So, Jack, to you first. You have been peerless, perfect in your professional career so far. So, to start at the top of this, why do you win the title, British title, and then so quickly say, I'm moving on from that? What is the thinking?
It was the opportunity. Frank proposed the opportunity to fight for the British title. And initially it weren't in the plans, but obviously the history of the belt and how much it means to British boxing, it was an honour to fight for the title. But before that, I'd boxed for the WBO Intercontinental title. I think I've defended that 6 times, and it's given me a good ranking in the WBO. So that was the plan, to pursue that, keep climbing the rankings, and hopefully get myself in a position to fight for the world title.
We've been very excited watching you. What do you feel you've still got to work on?
There's loads to work on all the time. Every fight, watched the last fight back and the previous fights, in the gym every day, working and just perfecting little things. Obviously, recently I've joined a new training team with Jamie Moore.
Yep.
So again, he's bringing different aspects and working on the boxing.
And what's he doing that maybe you weren't doing 6 months ago or a year ago?
Just that it's easy to get fit and strong, but with Jamie really settling down, working on little things in the gym, maybe defence work, and just all round picking stuff out of fights, looking at stuff that we know we can work on every day.
Very good. And welcome to the new man on the firm, O'Hara Davis. Welcome to you, sir. O'Hara, one of the quotes for me of last year was from O'Hara Davis, actually. Frank? I used to speak more than I worked, but I'm going to change that. Well, you've got to do a bit of speaking here, but it's time for a rethink, isn't it?
Exactly.
After that one defeat.
Exactly. I put a foot wrong. Last year I wasn't focused on my craft. The guy lost to, he's a really good fighter, but I also believe that I wasn't as focused as I should have been. For me last year was all about becoming a superstar, going out, parties, clubs, girls, stuff like that, and boxing's been my goal and my dream, and I put a foot wrong, and now I'm just going to focus again.
You've seen one or two do that over the years, haven't you?
I have. I mean, all this partying and going out, the girls is okay, but it's the rest of it.
Not everybody can be like me. It's hard work.
You did lose to...
And he's got a couple of your old girlfriends, that's the problem.
You did lose to a really special fighter.
Yeah.
What did you learn in defeat to Josh Taylor?
What I learned in defeat, learned that I probably needed a new team. I needed a new team. I felt like I shouldn't be in a stable where there's 8 other fighters. I feel like a lot of coaches that have got 8 other fighters is more insurance policy. So if one fighter gets beat, he's like, I've got 7 other fighters. I feel like I needed that special attention that I wasn't getting. I feel like if you're a coach and you're confident in yourself and you believe that you've got 3 or 4 fighters, you can take them to the top. But I feel like there was a bit too many fighters, so I didn't get that attention where I sit down and I'm watching tapes of the person that I'm going to be facing. Like, there wasn't any of that really. So I'm more like, I just got told he just tackle, so just move to your left, something like that. So because I couldn't get that time because there's a bit too many fighters, but now I'm in a good place and I'm better than ever. It's the best team.
But we do have some news for you. The competition's pretty stiff on this side of the fence as well, Frank, isn't it? So you do have this little triangle developing with the man we're going to speak to in a moment over here, who is the number 1 at the moment.
The boss man's sitting there,
Yeah.
he's there, and he's got a tough fight.
These 3 guys in the same division.
But they're all the same division, and for me, there's nothing better than domestic clashes. And Terry's got a tough fight in his hands, which we'll talk about in a moment, but he comes through that. There's some great fights to be made for these guys. And, it will, and I believe it will set the division alight.
Thank you very much, everybody. Last word from you just before we let you go. What to look forward to. BT Sport, May the 19th.
Crazy night. It's going to be a good night of boxing. Obviously, some top lads on the card. Just an exciting fight as well. Obviously, me and Lee have exchanged words over the last few years, and now I've got a chance to settle it. I think it's going to be entertaining. Lee's a very good boxer, and I bring all action, so it's going to be entertaining. But like I say, I'm looking forward to winning that world title next time. Next time I come down here, I can join these boys on world title side, and look at potential big fights with someone like Carl in the future. So yeah, much motivation. But May 19th, BT Sports, it's going to be a hell of a night.
Think big, baby. Great that you're able to join us today. Jack O'Hara, thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. May the 19th, ladies and gentlemen, Josh Warrington, Lee Selby. I don't need to sell the fact. Thank you. Thank you. And nor indeed do we need to sell what follows on BT Sport on June the 9th in Manchester. Terry Flanagan, in some ways an unsung hero in British terms, but the way he's going in his career, the record is building at the moment. I think it's fair to say, Frank, that of all the great fighters we've had in Manchester over the last 30 years, this man can already stand, may I put it like this, nose to nose or shoulder to shoulder with any of them for his unbeaten run. And he's ambitiously going to take it forward in a new weight division. Terry, I'd like you to join us on the stage, please. And of course, the one and only Tyson Fury. Tyson. Welcome. Welcome.
Hi, Frank. Nice to see you. I've seen you for ages, yes.
Terry. Smashing the place up before we've started. Always a good start.
And let's start with you, Tyson. What's it like to be sharing the billing on a big night?
Fantastic. Is this working?
I think it is.
Can everybody hear me in the room?
Yeah.
Clearly. Yeah, it's a fantastic event. I'm happy to be boxing in my own town, Manchester. I've never boxed there before. And to be boxing with this champion here, one of my heroes in British boxing, the longest unbeaten world champion we have.
Yep.
It's going to be a great night. I'm looking really forward to it. Hopefully I can get mine done nice and sharp.
Fingers
And then
crossed.
Terry's going to go paint the town red! Yeah!
There's no more of that, you know that, second time round. Time is short now for you.
It's long. Like many other things.
Now, when I think back to 3 years ago, when you were suddenly, overnight, one of the most recognised sportsmen on the planet, can you cope better second time if all goes according to plan?
Well, if it goes to plan again, I'll be the most recognised person on the planet again, so I wouldn't have been doing that much wrong, Frank, would I, if I'm most recognised? No, listen, it's, what can I say, first time round I enjoyed it, I enjoyed every single minute of it, but I needed that much needed rest, which I had, and now I'm back rejuvenated, ready for round two.
Physically, if I could just say this to you, you look fantastically well, and also, as in this modern era, and some of the, if I may put it like this, the veteran boxing writers will find it, a whole different dimension, Frank, that we've all had to get used to. But we do get access to seeing you almost as soon as you go back into the gym. And I think for a lot of people, there was a great deal of surprise about how sharp you were looking within 3 or 4 weeks of returning to training. Did you feel that yourself?
They say once you have it, you can never lose it. And I have it in abundance. And a little bit of puppy fat never hurt anybody. Some people like a bit, don't they, Ben? And listen, it's a little bit of fat, had a bit of weight to lose. It was all good fun and games, so gaining it off, putting it on was even better. And my aim is to keep it off for a while, at least for a week after the fight this time. Usually I put it on quite sharp within a few days. A couple of stone goes straight on. But I've to limit myself to 8-9 pints every time we go out.
Well, that's good. It's a step in the right direction.
30.
Good.
But, yeah, the sharpness has always been there. Even at 27 stone, I was very sharp. And now the weight's come off, obviously, you can see how well I'm looking. I look good, Carl. I look good.
You're sounding not too bad either. Now, so much has been said since the announcement of your return about the journey you've had to make internally, okay, and the difficulties of your life, which we all go through, and how, for a lot of people, you have confronted them in public, and you've had respect for doing that. But professionally, in terms of the boxing, was the drive, I can't miss out here, because of what Anthony Joshua has been doing? And we're going to speak to a young man here who's at the other end of his career. He's been coming through rapidly, Daniel Dubois. Hayan Bellew grabs some of the glory while you're away. Joe Joyce turns from Olympian into professional. I would say to you that the grass hasn't been growing so much as clambering up around your kneecaps while you've been sitting watching. So has that focused your mind?
Not really. You know, people have success. Everybody has their little 5 minutes in the sunshine. Credit to them. Everyone who can get in that position, they deserve it. But the motivation was never to come back to fight X, Y, Z. It was always to come back and box again for me, not to be an opponent or to fight other people. You know, it's my ambition in boxing is to get back in a boxing ring and have fun again. Because I'm most happiest when I'm in a ring, entertaining and having fun. For some people, going in a boxing ring is like, it's like going to a guillotine, and they don't want to be there. They think about everything they're going to do after the fight, and the weeks after and the days after. But my whole life is based around what I'm going to do on the night, how much I'm going to enjoy it, what games I'm going to play in there, and just have fun really. My only form of fun, other than getting pissed up every day, is boxing, and that's what I enjoy and love. So that's why I'm back at it, and hopefully I can do all right again. I'm sure I can get a few victories under my belt before I get chinned.
I think there's every chance of that, but you can't fool us. We know that you've been watching the other guys. What are your opinions at the moment about Anthony Joshua?
Listen, he's done very, very well. Like I said in many other media things, I'm very proud of him for what he's done. He's changed his stance, where he's come from to where he is today. He's done very, very well. And you know, you can only respect and admire people who've got that determination and drive to go out there and take what they want. Because nothing in life is ever going to be given to anybody. You have to go out there and fight for it. No matter what business you're in and what business you're not in, sports, whatever, you have to fight for what you want in life. And he's done that, so he's done very, very well.
When could it happen for you?
This weekend, it could happen. And I'd be game, because that's just me. But, you know, I feel better today than I did when I beat Klitschko. I feel a better fighter now, more experienced. My career has got more pain in it than it did have before. Everything ran very smoothly before. So now I know what it feels like to have that pain. So if I can come back from that, then I can come back from anything. I never ever doubted myself in a boxing ring, even when I was on the canvas looking at the roof. I always thought, right, I'm going to get up and knock you clean out. And I always did. But deep down, there was always something missing. I was always searching for something. I was always soul searching. Even when I won the world title the next day, I said, it didn't really mean anything to me. Because I was searching for something that I already had inside me all the way along. And I just need to let it out, and that was to be satisfied with who I am, what I am, and what I've achieved. And now I'm over that hurdle. You're going to see the best Tyson Fury ever, vintage Tyson Fury.
And you're also a great student privately, a great student of boxing and its history. And part of why we love the sport is the comeback. The guy who's written off, who may be out for years, who comes back and tells the world, you've written me off wrong. How much of that inspiration now for you?
Very inspirational. You know, as you say, I'm a student of the sport, and we only have to look back to the greats to see this previously. Ali, when he fought Foreman after the big comeback, no one gave him a prayer. He was fighting a massive puncher, someone who they thought was stronger than him, better than him, younger than him. But what happened in the fight? We all know the result. And, you know, I'm not here to run other people down, because, you know, everyone's got their flaws and everyone has their own problems. But my promise to you and to BT Sports and to the world of boxing is I will reign supreme once again. And when I do it, you're going to say, how in the world did you do that? Not only am I going to do it, I'm going to make it look easy as well, because that's what I'm good at, making things look easy that are hard, really. So it's going to be an epic night. You better be there. And I'm happy it's on BT Sport, and I'm happy they're going to put it on their TV station and broadcast it to the world.
Thank you, Tyson. Now, I think for you, Terry, as the man who's going to fight in a world title fight on this card on June the 9th, I think the best accolade anybody could pay you is the respect that all these world champions and guys fighting at world level all have for you. Does that make you feel good on the inside?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think they understand boxing, and people in boxing have always knew how good I am. It's just like the general public, because I don't really put myself out there as much. But yeah, I know what I can do in the gym, and yeah, I'm looking to transfer that to the ring.
Speaking of putting yourself out there, all you've got to do is sit beside him for the next 3 weeks.
I'm going to take you now after the fight.
You're quite good mates, actually, aren't you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we boxed on amateur shows
Yeah.
together. We turned pro around the same time with similar ages. We've gone on to win world titles, and it's great to be sharing a big role with him, yeah.
And how have you're such a dedicated professional, you don't let the distractions get in the way, you don't let the frustrations get in your way, because it's never a straight road, you don't let the layoffs get in the way. How have you been able to keep it together when so many others find it, for understandable reasons, so very difficult? How do you do that?
I'm a mentally strong person. I mean, this next fight will be my 7th straight world title fight. I mean, if you want mentally strong, then you won't be in this situation, in this position. I mean, you get setbacks and shit happens, but you've got to push yourself off and go again. I mean, I was on the Billy Joe bill that fell through, and yeah, just had to chill for a week, take my foot off the gas. Still stayed in the gym, still worked on things, but yeah, always had that new date set, and it's worked out better in the long run. I mean, I'm on a big massive bill in Manchester with Tyson. Don't have to worry about selling tickets here, do all that, and it's just yeah, it's good to be involved in such a big show. And
you don't have to worry about the weight quite so much now in this new weight division?
Obviously it's not going to be as hard, but I'm still going to have to take weight off. I mean, I was big at lightweight, I'm not going to be small at light welterweight, but yeah, it's a weight I'm a lot more comfy at, and I think you'll see a better fighter from me at this weight.
Real good fighter, Hooker.
Yeah, he is.
What are you preparing for in the opponent?
Just coming to terms with his range, really. Once you get that, been sparring now in the gym for the last few weeks, and it's starting to come together. I mean, getting some taller lads in, and I'm starting to out-jab them. So it shows when you start beating a bigger fighter to the jab, it shows your timing's there, and stuff's starting to come together now. And we know Hooker's a good fighter, he can punch, he's also unbeaten. He's going to be coming over as a confident lad, but I'm sure 3-4 rounds in, the doubt will start setting in when stuff's not going right.
The wins are stacking up so impressively, and you are obviously rated at the top end in world terms, but now Frank is building some kids to come and test you domestically.
Yeah,
that sharpens your focus, sure.
Yeah, the likes of Catcho and Alara, they're going to be looking for me, but like I say, this is my 7th world title fight. I've been calling for unification fights at lightweight. Frank promised me at light welterweight now, so if I come through this fight, I'm looking now. I'm not looking for the likes of Catcho or Alara Davis, no disrespect, but I feel like I'm level above them.
Great stuff. And a last word from you, Frank, about this particular show in Manchester. We haven't been there for a while, have we?
No, we haven't. And I'm looking forward to it. Tyson, I didn't even realise until a couple of weeks ago that he'd never fought in Manchester before.
Amazing.
It's amazing. World heavyweight champ, so homecoming for him. And Terry going for become a two-weight world champion. The history there from his point of view. So it's going to be a great night. We got a great atmosphere, and I mean he's in a tough fight. He's got a tough fight, Terry, but I've got every belief in him. I think he's a class operator. He's shown that over the years. And when it comes down to being the underdog at times, and I don't think he's an underdog in this fight, but when it comes down to digging deep, he's the guy for it.
Terrific. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us today. You write the story for yourself. Nobody can compete with you. Let's go and do it in the ring, all right? Fantastic. Thank you very much.
It's all, baby, it's all.
Well done. Terry, thank you very much.
Just fall off the stage.
Well, no, don't do that. The big fights continue, ladies and gentlemen, throughout June on BT Sport. Rescheduled now until June the 23rd, after the unfortunate setback injury-wise for Billy Joe Saunders, but another outstanding all-British world title fight, Billy Joe Saunders against Martin Murray. Anthony Yarde and Daniel Dubois also scheduled, I believe, Frank, to appear on that same bill. And let's get a word with all the three of those boys next up. Billy, Anthony, Daniel. Thank you. So, Billy, it's never a straight road with you, isn't it? One of your finest performances last December, away from home, on BT Sport, and Billy Joe Saunders is right back up there in every sense. And we all look forward to this April job against Martin Murray, which is a fine match up, and then an injury hits. So are you over it now?
Yeah, just want to say, first of all, thanks to BT Sport for giving us this platform to work on. You know, it's always frustrating because camps are never over until, you know, that last week of tapering down. And, you know, when I started sparring, I got the injury, I just, you know, I wanted to power through, but, you know, I got a good team around me and they said, listen, you know, you've got to be professional about it. Got the doctors look at it and he just said, look, I wouldn't chance it because I know what's at stake for me and I can't overlook Martin Murray. If I were overlooking him and I thought, oh, well, it'll be alright, I'll go in there with a slight injury and get through it and, you know, and it was to go pear-shaped, it'd be nothing but my own to blame. So I took the doctor's advice. But, you know, I'm back punching, sparring now, but now it's, you know, it's right as rain.
Billy Joe Saunders 5 years ago might have gone through with the fight, would that be fair?
Listen, I've gone through a lot worse, but,
Yeah.
you know, I think that at this stage of my career, what's at stake, you know, you can't afford to slip up at this level. And, you know, anybody will tell you at box at world level, when you get to this level, it's not British, Commonwealth, European level. There's a quite a big difference between that and world level. And, you know, I've got to respect Martin. He's been in with, he's boxed for the world title now 4 times, come up short, but, you know, he's got that experience. And that experience alone, you've got to, you know, you've got to value.
And is it also part of the thinking now, Billy, that given the performance at the end of last year, which was very, very well received in the United States, they're looking at you as well. So only the best of Billy Joe has to show up every night now.
100%. I think that's, you know, I think that I've got to put that, you know, that performance now. It's nice to look back on it, but it's gone now. You know, it's in the past, so I've got to put that behind me. And, you know, I've got to try and beat that. And it's no good going in there and looking $1 million one day and looking a pile of rubbish the next. So you've got to go in there and perform every time.
Frank, if I could come to you next about the two men further down the podium here, Anthony Yarde and Daniel Dubois. What have you got to work with there with those two?
Well, they're 2 excellent young talents and they've got great natural boxing ability. Daniel's got a fine junior pedigree. He only had 7 senior bouts as an amateur. I think only a couple of weeks ago the guy who won the Commonwealth gold medal, Fraser. Yeah.
Yes.
He won the Commonwealth gold medal and he's what, I think he's about 6 years older than you. Even he said he'd been on the floor against him. We know he can punch, there's no doubt about that, and I'm sure his opponents who's fought will confirm that. But it's not just about punching, it's about learning his trade, it's about working on his defence and so forth. He's got a good trainer in Martin Bauer, and I think between them they've got a great bond, they're working together. It's all about getting experience, more and more experience, and when the time's right, he'll be ready to go. And who knows, you know, maybe 2 years' time, whatever it is, he may be fighting the big man himself. You know, all these things are there to happen. But he's on a journey, the start of his journey, and it's exciting, and I'm pleased he's with us.
And what about Anthony Yarde?
Same thing, he came into boxing with very, very limited amateur experience. I think 12 fights as an amateur. He's had, is it about 14 now? Is it 15 as a pro. So he's a baby, as you know, as regarding experience, and Tunde's done a fantastic job with him, but he needs to, you know, keep learning every fight, which is what he's doing. We know he's got tremendous power in both hands. He's got great, like Daniel, they've got great mindset to what they want. You only got to look at them, they could fight tomorrow. They're both fit, well, they're in condition all the time. And I think with a bit more experience, we can take the reins off and let him go, and he'll be ready.
That's the issue, though, isn't it? Because you know, maybe you don't quite see it long term like that. You want to press ahead, Anthony, already.
I'm a very patient person, very, very patient. I just believe in hard work and following people like Billy Joe, Tyson Fury, all the other champions. I just want to be the best person I can be, and again, be entertaining and bring a lot to the sport.
I think it's fair to say about Anthony, Frank, that one of the most striking things so far is that electricity in the auditorium when he goes into the ring. You can't buy that, you can't manufacture that. This is a young man who does have that. So in terms of how the public are latching on to you, what difference is now to a year ago? What's happened for you?
Again, Frank Warren Promotions, the deal with BT Sports has boosted everything majorly. You know, usually I would have come here suited and booted, so I apologise for my attire. I'm moving at the minute, so everything's a bit hard for me. Again, no car, so so I apologise for the attire. But literally, as you said, the electricity, people latching on, and again, I will never stop looking up to people like these world champions here in the room today, because they paved the way. You have to look at their mentality and see how they approach things. And also the entertainment factor, again, you got big guy in the room, Tyson Fury. Outside of boxing, people knew who he was because of the entertainment factor. And again, I'm just one of the people that like to be myself, characteristic, whatever the word is. Always being myself. I don't follow nobody or try and be anyone that people want me to be. I'm Anthony Yarde. I've got a lot of comparisons, but again, I'm going to be Anthony Yarde. I'm going to always be Anthony Yarde. And when the time's right, and as Frank said, I gained more experience, and he thinks I'm ready, Tunde thinks I'm ready. I think I'm ready now. Let me just put that out there. But when the time's right, I've got to actually rise to the occasion.
As Frank mentioned, very limited amateur experience. So in your 18 months as a professional, what is the one most important thing you've learned so far?
Duck.
What was that?
Duck.
The thing that I've learned so far is that win. That's all that matters. You can do all the things outside the ring. You can get as much attention as you want. If you don't keep winning, it's not going to last very long. So you have to look at people that have got longevity in the sport, people that are doing well, not just, as Tyson Fury said, not for a short period of time or have a little bit of limelight. You've got to look at people that are doing things right and consistent. So that's what I'm trying to do. And everything's time.
Very good. But of course, the man to your left, at the age of only 20, you're giving him years. So Daniel, at 20, I mean, again, you had the potential, as Frank alluded to, winning medals in amateur boxing. You would have been a favourite for a lot of these big tournaments over the next few years. You decided to go professional very, very early as a teenager. Was that the right thing?
Definitely, I feel so. I'm on my journey, I'm on my path, and I'm just learning on the job, and I feel I'm improving every day in the gym. So I feel I've made the right decision.
Do you feel you're better equipped as a professional, technically, than as an amateur? Was that part of the thinking at the time?
Definitely. I trained like a pro when I was an amateur, so I was always built for the game.
And making that step, you were 18 years of age, give or take, when you turned professional and went into this business, and it is a business.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Learning, making mistakes, and learning from my mistakes, but most importantly, learning.
And again, to repeat what I asked Anthony, so far, what stands out for you? What have you had to absorb most?
To keep working hard in the gym and really listen to your coaches, listen to your elders, and listen to the people on your team, and take as much advice as you can.
Because it can be a very lonely life being a professional compared to being amateur when you're a group of 20 odd in Britain or most major amateur boxing countries. The facilities are fantastic nowadays. Yeah. It's a harder, lonelier life being a pro, isn't it?
It is. It's part of the game, but through my amateur career, it's only you in the ring, so you got to look at it like that. It's one mind, one mindset, and tunnel vision.
And do you, echoing something Tyson was talking about, do you enjoy fight night, or are you one of those fellows who say the fear is what gets me going, the fear?
I enjoy it, I love it. Just once I know I train properly, I've done everything. I haven't cut no corners in training. I'm 100% confident of victory.
Again, you're local like Anthony from Greenwich. And when you go back home in Greenwich now, are people beginning to come up to you in the street and say hello? And is that happening for you? A
few, yeah. It's nice. It's different, but it's nice. I'm still getting used to it, but I just thank them all. I thank the well wishers. I thank supporters and everyone along with that.
Of course, you don't get it all your own way in your own household either, do you?
No.
Actually, today I should mention, if you don't mind me, you have your sister here as well, who's, 3 years younger than you?
Yeah, she's 3 years younger than me, but I think she's way ahead of me in boxing. She's 3-time European champion and going for the Youth Olympics this year and hopefully the 2020 Olympics.
Well, it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? And
Absolutely.
I think it does echo something else that one of them, the most, exactly, that we can, through this deal with you, Frank, BT Sport can get out there to the next generation of young boxers and young people, okay, and deal with some of the things that boxing can help with.
Absolutely, and that's the part I really do enjoy, with the start of the journey with the guys and watching them come through and progress and blossom and, get change. It's life-changing. If you do it well, if you can go and win these titles, you change your whole life. You change, everything for your family. And, that all sounds good. There's other issues that you've got to deal with, Tyson mentioned earlier. So it's all about a journey and the experience. But the boxing side of it from, these guys, they're top quality. It's a pleasure to be working with them both. And I enjoy watching them. And I'm sure the BT viewers are going to get more and more to know them. And I'm sure we're going to see some big title fights with them.
Terrific. Dubois, Yarde and Billy Joe Saunders, June the 23rd. Great, Billy, that you're able to be fit and ready to go again. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Thank you. So we can't put dates on the next two, ladies and gentlemen, but again to emphasise that part of the long-term prospect here on BT Sport in the months and years ahead, hopefully years, is that two already very well established world champions, world-rated guys at feather and what used to be called light middle can continue to prosper. And they're Carl Frampton and Liam Smith. And we're going to ask you to close it up by coming up on the stage for just a couple of minutes, please. Thank you very much. And you come in the middle, Carl. And I don't know really whether we should start with the good news. It is a good news, bad news story, but I think we probably should start with the good. The good news was that by general acclaim, Carl Frampton was back to his very best only last weekend on BT Sport against the world-class veteran Anito Donaire. And Carl, you put on a great show. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Were you pleased with yourself?
Yeah, I was very pleased. I think that obviously I was written off a bit, and people thought after losing to Leo Santa Cruz and not having a brilliant comeback performance against a fighter that not a lot of people knew about, they thought it was done. But I knew there was still a lot left to give, and I think it's about the frame of mind that I'm in at the minute, and I'm enjoying myself. And I think that I'm 31. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but I'm enjoying boxing now more than I ever have. With a new team, Jimmy Moore and Nigel Travis in Manchester, good people around me. We've teamed up with Frank and NTK as well, and things are good at the minute.
Come back to you in a moment. To the very end now, and Liam, all set, Liam, to start off this great season on BT Sport on May the 12th in the United States against Saddam Ali. And unfortunately, as everybody's aware, the news broke maybe 6-7 days ago that Liam's been ruled out on medical grounds for just the moment. But of course, there was a great cunning plan behind all this. You're not off to Rome, are you? But you're already booked in for the Champions League final, haven't you, Liam? So disappointing. Are you okay?
Yeah, that's the frustrating part. I'm not kind of injured and going to be out for a long time. I just had a virus and an allergy infection that kept me out for 8 days, and 2 weeks before a world title fight. I think any fighter would have probably done the same in my situation. I can't have 7 days out the gym 2 weeks before a world title fight. If it was 4-5 weeks, maybe so you could stomach it, but 2 weeks before, it's kind of a risk I couldn't take at the age and the position I'm in now. I went ahead with the Canelo fight with a cut, and it's kind of once bitten, twice shy. I'm not going to do that again. I mightn't get another shot, so I need to be 100% and I need to win that title back.
I think it echoes what Billy Joe is saying. When you guys are fighting at this elite level, only the best is good enough, and there are no excuses.
Yeah, the same. The doctor said, my advice, you're not fit enough to fight. I couldn't train with the allergy I had, and 8 days being on the couch 2 weeks before a fight is not good for any fighter. So, and the frustrating part is I was not far off, fighting fit. I was ready to fight, and that's kind of been the bitter pill to swallow. I'm fit and healthy, and it's not really, I'm not injured and out with bad hands or a bad foot.
So, Frank, what is the plan for Liam?
Well, they're fighting, Ali's fighting a substitute opponent, so he's having a voluntary on May 12th, and then the winner of that will have to fight the mandatory challenger, which is Liam, in the autumn. So we're looking to try and get it on in September, and in the meantime we're going to find keep him ticking over, get a fight for him beforehand. But the big thing is going to be fighting the winner. And, he can win that title back. He did go in, can't make any excuses. He fought in Canelo, fought a great fighter. But he did go in there coming off of not being out that cut, not being able to spar. He insisted on doing it. And he's done that. And as you say, we're not going to go down that road again. He must be 100%. But it's 100% Liam Smith wins that title. I believe he comes back with a belt.
Is 100% Liam Smith capable of being the best 11-stone fighter in the world?
I think he is. I mean, he's a quality fighter. He's got a good boxing brain. He's a good puncher. He's a good boxer, as I said. I just feel that he needs that little bit of luck, a little bit of luck in getting the fight on, and then the momentum afterwards. But he's been in some big fights, and he's a great competitor. He had 2 good fights with Liam Williams. I mean, they were good fights, and the first one where there was all, it was a little bit, so people felt a bit debatable, but certainly wasn't the second one. There was no ifs and buts about that, and did what he had to do. He deserves to be where he's at because he, as being a former world champion, he also went and won the final eliminator. So he's done it on merit, and now it's all about recapturing that title. We're behind him 100%. He's been good with me from the beginning. He's been loyal with me. We had I don't mean we've had our ups and downs, but we had some ups and downs. We went through some tough times, a couple of tough financial times and whatever, but it was all about the end game. And here we are today, sitting on this stage, with a great broadcaster as a partner, working with them. And Liam, for me, I owe him big, and he's going to get that shot, and I know he's going to deliver.
Terrific. And I think we should close it up perhaps by turning back to Carl after that great show in Belfast. That was only the warmer up for what lies ahead, hopefully this summer. Where are we?
He's the interim champion. Valdez, the champion, has got a bad jaw injury. I don't know when he's going to fight. We're trying to find out when that's going to be, but he has to fight against Carl. We've also got Josh in with Lee Selby, which is in a couple of weeks' time. So there's a lot of things for us to look at, but I promised him, like I promised all the guys, like I promised Josh we'd fight Leeds, I promised Carl will be at Windsor Park, and we're going there in August. He's got my word on that. So that's going to happen. Belfast has suddenly come, well, it's always been a great fight town, but it's become alive with the fights going on there. And he's spearheading that. It's the catalyst is Carl, and everything's coming off of that. We've got Mick Conlon coming back, Paddy Barnes. There's some good fighters and some good fights to be made. But it's a privilege to be promoting Carl, and I think when we get to Windsor Park, that's going to be, for me, another little tick in the box. I know it's going to be one for him. And I think we're going to get an emotional and, a great night between his home fans.
It will be tremendous. And from your point of view, lastly, Carl, it's been a very rough 18 months, hasn't it, in every possible sense. So have you put all that behind you now?
Yeah, look, it hasn't been the easiest 18 months. I lost my title, and then everything else is going in the background, legal matters and stuff, but look, I'm not thinking about it at the minute. I'm focused on the boxing, and again, I keep going on about it, but I'm enjoying myself. I'm feeling good, and I'm happiest I've ever been right now as a boxer, and I think that's credit to the people that I'm around at the minute, and looking forward to the future. Again, I'm 31, I'm not the youngest guy in the world, but I've still got a few good years in me, and I'm looking forward to kicking it off at Windsor.
Terrific. And it'll be the perfect cadence, wouldn't it, Frank, after this great summer of boxing on BT Sport, to start at a stadium, Elland Road, with Josh Warrington, Lee Selby, and to close it in August. I believe the 18th is the date.
I think it's the 18th.
Yeah, for hopefully...
That'll be the cherry.
A world title job. But Carl Frampton in Windsor Park.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Brilliant.
Dream come true.
Thank you all. Liam, good luck with your recovery. Make it swift and get out there and claim that world title, hopefully in September. Thank you very much. Carl, as ever, a pleasure. And to all the fighters who've joined us here today, thank you very much indeed. Tyson, Billy, Terry, thanks all.